Denis Villeneuve's best movie isn't Dune. It's not Blade Runner 2049, and it's not even Arrival. His true masterpiece, a film hardly anyone talks about anymore, Prisoners. This movie is a gut punch. It's dark, it's unsettling, and it asks one of the scariest questions you'll ever face. If your child disappeared, how far would you go to get them back? Would you break the law? Would you cross every moral line? Prisoners doesn't just ask those questions, it drags you right into the nightmare and forces you to sit with the answers. And here's the wild part. When people talk about Villeneuve today, they only mention his giant sci-fi blockbusters. Prisoners gets left out of the conversation, almost like it's been buried under the weight of his later successes. But this isn't just early Villeneuve. It's a masterpiece in its own right. An unrelenting thriller that lingers in your head long after the credits roll. So in this video, we're breaking down why Prisoners deserves way more recognition, how it shaped Villeneuve into the director we know today, and why it might secretly be his most powerful film ever. Back in 2013, Denis Villeneuve wasn't the household name he is now. This was before he was trusted with massive franchises like Blade Runner or Dune. At that point, he was this Canadian director who had impressed critics with Incendies, a powerful drama that even earned him an Oscar nomination, but to the average moviegoer, he was still basically unknown. He wasn't the visionary Denis Villeneuve yet. He was just this new guy Hollywood decided to take a chance on. Then came Prisoners. This was his first big Hollywood film, and honestly, what a way to announce yourself. The cast alone is ridiculous. Hugh Jackman at the peak of his post-Wolverine fame, Jake Gyllenhaal deep in his intense detective roles phase, Paul Dano playing yet another unsettling character, and legends like Viola Davis, Terrence Howard, and Melissa Leo rounding it out. It's the kind of cast most directors would dream of working with, and when Prisoners dropped, critics ate it up. It scored strong reviews, made over $120 million worldwide on a $46 million budget, and even snagged an Oscar nomination for Roger Deakins' moody cinematography. Because of course it did. It's Deakins. A lot of people genuinely thought it was one of the best thrillers in years. But here's the problem. 2013 was stacked. That was the year of Gravity, 12 Years a Slave, Her, The Wolf of Wall Street, American Hustle. The list goes on. In a year that competitive, a dark, slow-burn thriller like Prisoners just couldn't dominate the cultural conversation. Then, Villeneuve jumped straight into Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, and suddenly his reputation became all about science fiction and giant spectacle. Prisoners didn't fit that narrative, so people stopped talking about it. But go back and rewatch it today, and you'll see it was already proof of everything Villeneuve would become. Atmospheric, tense, and morally complicated. This wasn't just a warm-up. This was the real deal. So let's talk about the story. Prisoners starts with a nightmare scenario. Two young girls go missing on Thanksgiving. One moment they're outside playing, and the next, they're just gone. The parents, played by Hugh Jackman and Viola Davis on one side, and Terrence Howard and Melissa Leo on the other, are thrown into complete panic. Enter Detective Loki, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who's brought in to lead the investigation. Pretty quickly, the police arrest a suspect, Paul Dano's character, this quiet, mentally challenged man who was seen near the crime scene. But here's where the movie twists the knife. They can't prove he did it. There's no evidence strong enough to hold him, so the cops have to let him go. Now, imagine being Hugh Jackman's character, a father who knows time is running out, watching the system fail him. That's when the movie asks its central, brutal question. If you truly believed this guy had your kid, would you take the law into your own hands? How far is too far when it's your family on the line? And this is where Villeneuve pulls you in deeper than most thrillers. The tension isn't just about whether the girls will be found. It's about whether the parents, the cops, and even the suspects can live with the choices they're making. Everyone is walking a razor's edge. That's what makes Prisoners so different. It's not a neat puzzle where good guys chase bad guys. It's about morality, desperation, and how grief can warp people. Every character is trapped by fear, by guilt, by obsession. Hence the title. Prisoners isn't just about the kids. It's about everyone. This isn't a simple good versus evil story. It's messy, uncomfortable, and it forces you to sit there and ask yourself, what would I do in that situation? What really makes Prisoners hit so hard is the acting. You've got Hugh Jackman delivering what might be his most raw, emotional performance outside of Logan. He's not playing a superhero here. He's playing a desperate father, and you feel every ounce of his rage, fear, and grief. It's terrifying because Jackman makes you believe that this guy really could cross the line at any second. Then there's Jake Gyllenhaal as Detective Loki. And let's be real, this might be one of his best roles ever. He's so dialed in with all these little quirks, the blinking, the tattoos, the way he carries himself, that make him feel like a guy who's lived 1,000 dark cases before this one. He's professional, but you can see the frustration boiling under the surface as the case gets more twisted. Paul Dano, of course, plays the suspect, and he is incredibly unsettling. The way he mixes vulnerability with creepiness keeps you guessing. Do you hate him, pity him, or fear him? That tension is exactly what the movie needs. And then you've got Viola Davis and Terrence Howard, who bring so much humanity and pain to the parents on the other side. Even Melissa Leo is unforgettable in her smaller but crucial role. The cast doesn't just play their parts, they live in them. And that's important, because a story this heavy only works if you completely buy into the emotions. Villeneuve knows this, and he gives his actors room to breathe, to make choices, to show the breakdown of human beings under unthinkable pressure. The result? A thriller that isn't just about suspense. It's about people being torn apart from the inside. And that's what makes it unforgettable. Now, let's talk about the look and feel of this movie, because that's where Denis Villeneuve really stamps his signature. Prisoners is shot by Roger Deakins, who's basically the god of cinematography, and you can tell immediately. The movie is drenched in this cold, rainy, overcast atmosphere that feels heavy, almost suffocating. It's not just pretty, it's purposeful. The visuals mirror the moral darkness of the story. Think about those long, quiet shots of neighborhoods, forests, or the inside of that creepy RV. There's this constant tension, even when nothing big is happening, because the environment itself feels hostile. Villeneuve and Deakins know how to make you feel unsettled, just by holding the camera a second too long, or by hiding details in the shadows. And pacing-wise, this isn't a fast jump-scare thriller. It's slow, methodical, and deliberate. Every scene feels like a puzzle piece that you're desperate to fit together. Villeneuve doesn't hand you answers. He makes you work for them, which is why the movie sticks with you. What's wild is that you can clearly see the DNA of his later films and Prisoners. The way he uses silence, the way he frames characters against huge, oppressive environments, the way he lets dread build until you can barely breathe. It's all here, just on a smaller scale. Even the recurring use of mazes throughout the story is pure Villeneuve. Visual metaphors that aren't just cool, but tied directly into the themes. The characters are stuck in psychological and moral mazes, just as much as the literal ones. And honestly, that's why Prisoners still feels so relevant today. It's not just a crime story, it's a mirror to our own fears about justice, morality, and how much trust we really put in the system. In a world where true crime dominates pop culture, this film feels more timely than ever. So here's the big question. Is Prisoners actually Denis Villeneuve's best movie? For me, there's a strong case. Don't get me wrong, Arrival blew my mind, Blade Runner 2049 is stunning, and Dune is a massive achievement. But Prisoners? It's Villeneuve stripped down to his purest form. No giant sandworms, no futuristic cityscapes, just raw human emotion, moral complexity, and tension you can cut with a knife. It's almost ironic that the movie about people being trapped is the one that got trapped in his filmography, overshadowed by the big blockbusters that came after. But maybe that's what makes it special. It feels personal, intimate, and brutally honest in a way that sticks with you long after the credits roll. And if you're still here watching, you probably love movies as much as I do. So go ahead and hit that like button. And hey, if you want more deep dives into underrated gems and the bigger pop culture moments, make sure you subscribe too. That way, you won't miss the next breakdown. But more importantly, I want to hear from you. Do you think Prisoners is Villeneuve's true masterpiece? Or does another one of his films take the crown? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be checking them out.